Section 2. Communication suitable for the state of the user. 2. Communication suitable for the state of the user. There are 5 topics. 1. Importance of communication suitable for the characteristics of various disabilities. 2. Communication with a person with a visual impairment. 3. Communication with a person with a hearing disorder. 4. Communication with a person with aphasia. 5. Communication with a person with dementia. Importance of communication suitable for the characteristics of various disabilities. Communication is sometimes hindered by diseases and disabilities. The care worker works to identify the hindrance to establish communication suitable for the user. In recent years, the use of ICT, information communication technology, as a method of communication has become increasingly popular. Communication with a person with a visual impairment. Visual impairment is a disease in which the person is unable to see things or has difficulty seeing things. As a person cannot get enough information from visual perception, there are times when he or she doesn't know the distance between him or herself and various things and the place he or she is in. Point to remember when communicating with a person with a visual impairment. 1. Use the information that can be obtained other than from visual perception. Explain specifically and in detail the location and characteristic of things. Moreover, it is important to be aware of the tone of your voice and the way you talk. You can also provide information by letting the person directly touching things. 2. Call the person by name and then talk to him or her. If the care worker touches the user without a word, he or she will be surprised. Be sure to first talk to him or her. When you talk to the user, call the person by name first. It is also important that the care worker tells his or her name. 3. Specifically, explain the location and direction. When you explain the location, be specific. For example, tell the person, to your right and to the direction my voice is coming from. When the person is having a meal and you need to tell him or her where a specific dish is located, you can explain its direction by mentioning the direction to which the hour hand of a clock is pointing at a certain time of the day. This method is called clock position. Example of the method and tool of support to use in communication with a person with a visual impairment. Braille and Braille block are available as tools for communicating information with people who are blind. Communication with a person with a hearing disorder. As a person with hearing disorder can't hear sound well, he or she tends to have a sense of loss and isolation, which makes it necessary to provide psychological support as well. Point of remember when communicating with a person with a hearing disorder. There are 4 parts. Face and talk to him or her so that each other's facial expression and mouth movement are available. If one of his or her ears is less impaired, talk from that side of the ear. Do not talk unnecessarily loudly. Converse with him or her as quiet a place as possible. Examples of the method and tools of support to use in communicating with a person with a hearing disorder. Lip reading. Lip reading refers to seeing and interpreting lip movement for communication. Conversation by means of writing. Communicate with a person using paper, write and erase board, etc. ICT and others are also used for such communication. Sign language. Sign language refers to the expression of meaning using a combination of finger and hand gesture and face and neck movement. Hearing aid. A hearing aid is a tool that collects sound with a microphone and amplifies and delivers them to the ears. Communication with a person with aphasia. Aphasia is a state in which a person's function declines, such as listen to and understand others, read and understand document, speak, and write characters and letters. Point to remember when communicating with a person with aphasia, there are two parts. Use communication method other than speech, including pictures, photos, and hand and body gestures. Do not point out minor speech errors. Ask close questions so that he or she can answer easily with yes or no. Communication with a person with dementia. Due to the decline in the cognitive function of the brain, there are occasions when the same conversation is repeated a number of times, and the conversation between the care worker and the user just does not make sense. Points to remember when communicating with a person with dementia. Communicate with easy-to-understand words and short sentences. Even if what he or she talks is factually incorrect, do not deny it. Just accept it and sympathize with him or her. Third chapter is Communication with Team Members. Section 1. Basic understanding of the sharing of information by keeping records. 1. Basic understanding of the sharing of information by keeping records. There are 4 topics. Purpose of sharing information. Significance of keeping records in nursing care. Basics of keeping records of nursing care. Protection of personal information and maintaining of confidentiality. Purpose of sharing information. Nursing care is provided not by care workers only, but in cooperation with medical and other staff in a team. The team members share the contents of nursing care and medical information in order to provide the user with better nursing care services. There are 2 methods of sharing information. Information sharing by keeping records like care plans, case records, handover notebooks, etc. Information sharing by holding a meeting like the meetings including a handover meeting where information on the users is handed over to the next shift, and a meeting where the staff discuss the theme regarding nursing care. Significance of keeping records in nursing care. In order to provide good quality nursing care, it is necessary for the care worker to grasp the information on the user. The care worker records the condition of the user and approach to the user and the user's response. Keeping record is significant from 2 perspectives. Sharing users' information is to enhance care service, and it is to practice team care and sharing common goals with team members. Basics of keeping records of nursing care. There are 4 parts. Keep records while your memory is fresh and clear. Record the data and time accurately. Record briefly. Record fact. Fact can be classified into subject fact and object fact. Subject fact. What the user saw, what the user experienced, what the user complained about. Remarks of user. Object fact. What the care worker observed. Blood pressure value. Body temperature value. Examination data. Example of record. 2019, January 20. Found redness of 1 cm in diameter on the sacrum area of Mr. A when I provide toilet assistance at 8 a.m. I asked him and he said he was not feeling any pain. I report the fact to the nurse, and it was identified as an early stage of a pressure ulcer. Found redness of 1 cm in diameter on the sacrum area of Mr. A and at 8 a.m. are object fact. Not feeling any pain is subject fact. Record information in a manner that enables readers to understand the contents just by reading it once. Clearly record 6 items as follows: when, where, who, what, why, how. Example of an easy-to-understand sentence. On month, day, Mr. A picked up a purse in the Tokyo station, so we went to the police box. Protection of personal information and maintaining of confidentiality. Care workers must pay careful attention to information management. Protection of personal information and maintaining of confidentiality are strictly required as part of the professional ethics of specialists. For the sharing of personal information, it is necessary to obtain consent from the user regarding the handling of personal information, etc. Type of personal information are name, address, phone number, photo. Don't talk about users and your workplace outside your workplace. Don't post comment on the internet and SNS about the user and your workplace. Section 2. Reporting, communicating, consulting. 2. Reporting, communicating, consulting. There are 2 topics. Reporting, communicating, consulting. Reporting, communicating. Care workers provide nursing care in a team. Therefore, they report to and communicate with other team members what they have noticed in the interaction with users and the progress of their own tasks and others for the sharing of information. Points to remember when reporting and communicating. Person providing information. Report it concisely. Report the facts and the opinions separately. Report information by taking the place and timing into consideration. Person receiving information. Take notes. Listen and distinguish facts from opinions. Repeat what the other party has said. Consulting. When you have trouble or there is something you do not understand, seek advice from colleagues, specialists, etc. Do not make a judgment by yourself when you have worried. Consult others to get advice. Okay, you are done with the second half of communication skills, which covered communication suitable for the state of the user in the chapter of communication with users and basic understanding of the sharing of information by keeping records and reporting, communicating, consulting in the chapter of communication with team members. Congratulations! You can get one step closer to be a good caregiver. See you next lesson.